Hey guys, Stas Manchek here. Just want to give you an update on the real estate market and what's going on. Um, Today the CPI numbers came out and they were better than expected. It means inflation's moving down. And the 10-year Treasury yield, which is the bonds that kind of dictate the 30-year mortgage market, is down 4%. Right now it's 12:20 Central Time, which means that mortgage rates are probably going to hit below 6% by the end of the week if this trend continues to go in the direction that it's moving to. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean for the real estate market? Because the real estate market, has been really weird in the past 6 months when we peaked prices in June, and pricing and multiple offers and things along those sorts in most areas, not all areas, but most areas started to slide down. Inventory levels are still very restricted all over the country, but raising in some markets because of the unaffordability for buyers to come in and purchase these homes. But let's say you're a buyer today. So the market that's moving the fastest right now, and what I see this market to continue to move in the next 2 to 5 years, is the below the median, which is below the 400 mark, the first time home buyer, the FHA buyer, the down payment assistance, the special programs that they have for first time home buyers all over the country. That market is starting to move up, and it's going to continue to thrive because the lack of inventory in those price ranges, especially all over the country, is skyrocketing demand, which we're seeing in the past week. Multiple offers are back on those properties. There is a lot more buyers out shopping. There's more pre-approvals. There's more demand because that first-time home buyer has saved up their down payment. They're ready to go. They're ready to make that first step. The other market, the move-up market, which is the middle market, which is anywhere from the 450 range all the way up to 750, a million in some markets, depending on where you are in the country. That market has kind of been just slowly staggering along because unaffordability, again, even at 6% interest rates, it's still very, very expensive to purchase a home that expensive, a property that expensive. So what that does is it's creating more and more inventory in that market because there's less and less buyers, because people might be out of space in their properties, but they just can't afford the new payment. They're going from 2,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet, but their payment jumps double. And that's not really realistic for most people right now, especially with the job layoffs that are happening, companies cutting dead weight in costs. And from the growth that we saw in the last 2 years, from the amount of people that are needed, they might need less people. The example of Twitter, where 50%, 60% of the workforce got laid off and let go of to cut costs. And guess what? Twitter is still functioning just fine. So a lot of companies are going to start moving into that space. Everyone I talk to that's in corporate America right now is freaking out because their company's talking about cuts. And they're starting to slowly come in, especially right now with earnings season around the corner for Q4 and then going into Q1, where I saw retail numbers are lower than expected for December, which is the holiday season, which is one of their busy seasons for retail. People are starting to run out of money all over the place. So what that does for the real estate market is it's a trickle down effect. It's let's talk about markets that I'm in: Minnesota, Southeast Florida. Minnesota is your stable market where it's companies, it's corporations, it's relocation. We're the middle ground. We don't have a lot of ups and downs and things along those sorts. But if you look at our aging population of baby boomers especially, which I think like 72 million baby boomers are going to retire the next 10 years. And if those guys are sick of, 20, 30 below in the wintertime and they want to buy a second property or move completely to, the Sun Belt, which has been growing rapidly in the last few years, the trickle-down effect comes into play when their property here, let's say in Minnesota, is worth less. And when they get down south, they have less money to spend. Which same thing happens to New York, same thing happens to Connecticut, same thing happens to, Vermont, whatever the case is. So the trickle-down effect will start happening even in the lower states, with the prices either moving down a little bit more or just stabilizing and staying flat for the next 10 years, because higher interest rates, people have less money to spend, and people are afraid to get laid off. So what that means for you as a buyer, let's say in today's market, is if you're able and capable to purchase, just know that you might not be gaining equity for the next 10 years, 5 years, whatever the case is, but you still have a mortgage pay down, you have tax benefits, you have all sorts of stuff. So just know that the last 2 years of 30, 40% jumps, that is over. That's not coming back for a long time. And if you are able to buy, you're able to afford it, you're financially ready, you know all the costs that go into home ownership, jump into it, do it, buy your property. If you're not ready, then I would suggest waiting, because even renting is throwing away money, but you don't have the maintenance that goes along with it. You don't have the property taxes, then extra insurances, all those things that are skyrocketing right now all over the country because property values have gone up so fast. Your tax statements from your counties are probably 2 years behind, so now they're catching up, so now your property taxes are skyrocketing. And if you're a seller, my advice to you is, I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. We're all dependent on the Fed right now and what they do and how much and how long they raise the interest rates and keep them there on the Fed level, which kind of affects everything in a trickle-down effect. So, as they say, real estate is a really slow-moving market. So if prices are trending down, which they are right now all over the place, inventory is building up, and less buyers are available and able to afford properties at these high interest rates and high prices. So the slow effect, again, like I said in my previous video, last time it took 5 years for the market to bottom out at 8-9% a year on the downslide. So if you are thinking about retirement, if you are thinking about downsizing, if you are thinking about moving as a seller in today's market, right now might be the best time for you. And the next best time was June of 2022. But as you see, the trends, the prices are starting to come down and level out. I don't see a huge market crash as a whole. I just see a lot of flatness for the next 5 years, potentially, in real estate prices. Some markets will dip, some markets will go up still, some markets will, stay flat. But overall, I think in the United States that property values are going to stay essentially flat. If you have any questions, if you'd like advice, if you want property value on your current home today in Southeast Florida and in Minnesota, please feel free to reach out. I'm here to help in any way I can. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Thanks so much for watching, and please share this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to my channel. I'd love that. Thanks so much.